Morning. Thanks so much for joining this session. Let me share my screen real quick. We'll discuss what are we going to do today. Let me share my screen. This is okay. I'm sharing my screen, and this is what session which we are going to discuss today. AZ-204 Lab03. Okay. So I've given the link of official Microsoft lab here. So you can come into this lab, and if you go to this link, you'll have all the 12 labs. So we completed 2, so we're working on 3. I just put it here in chat also, so that it will be helpful if you want to grab and try this. A little later, you guys can do this. I am posting it here. I posted it. So if you see, we have all the information here about each and every lab. So today is retrieve Azure storage resources and metadata using Azure Storage SDK. So this is the lab which we will be working on today. As any of my session will be hands-on. This session is also hands-on and it is live. So nothing is pre-created. So everything will do it live. If it is failing, it will fail live. So let's give this a shot. So in this lab, what are we going to do? So we will learn how to use this Azure Storage SDK to access the storage containers within the C# console application. Okay, the console application is .NET 6. We'll use the same just to be in sync with that. And we'll also learn how to access the metadata and expose URI information to gain access to the content of the containers in the storage account. Okay, so we'll see that. And this is an architectural diagram. So you can have different graphics as a storage account and access the containers. We are doing through the code here using the console application. So let us get going and go to the portal. I just went and created this here. I just created RG AZ-204 Lab03. So there is nothing, no resources are there. So we'll create everything separate. In this, what happens is we'll go to the step 1, task 1 is we'll log in. First, exercise 1, we are creating the resources. In that task 1, we will log into the Azure portal. I just logged into the Azure portal and created a resource group. And then the next task is to create a storage account. So in Azure portal, we will search for resources, surveys, and docs. And here, this is the text box which they're referring in the documentation. Search resources, services, and docs. That's the text box. And we can search storage accounts. And then we can select the storage account. Okay, so we can search the storage account, or else we can directly click on this. We can do multiple ways, or we can go here and we can create the storage accounts. So there are multiple ways to do it. So one of the ways is we can search here to create the storage accounts. Another way is we can click on this, go to the marketplace, or another option is to come and click here on the storage account. And one more thing to observe here is this has been favorited. So if you unclick this, this will not show here. Again, you can click on create resource. This is technically opening the same one. So let's use this create resource. There are multiple ways to do. Okay, like this here, or from this hamburger menu. If you have favorited, it will show here, or you can click on this. And here also, there are multiple ways again. So you can check what is favorited or recently created. If you have recently created, I've created this. And here also you can come and select it from the list of categories, and we can go and search here. But the best thing what I do is just keep it here at the top and just search for storage account. Okay, so this is the one, the green color storage account. Okay, well, again, I'll just want to quickly show from the resource group. I'm just clicking on create and searching for storage account. And one of the list which shows is from storage account. You can see that this is used for blobs, tables, queues, files. Okay, that is the key thing. So we'll select this storage account and we'll click on create. Now let's come back to the documentation. We'll see step by step. So we selected the storage account and we clicked on create, but the way we created is little different from what they were showing in the documentation. And subscription is Microsoft Azure sponsorship. The resource group, they have a separate resource group. We have RG AZ-204 Lab03. And then this storage name. This is little bit from rest of the things. Suppose if I use any of these things, so see the rules. Yeah. Hello. Okay. So if you see the rules for storage account is little different. The field can contain only lowercase letters and numbers. So no special characters and no uppercase is not allowed. So it's purely only the lowercase. So what I'll do is I'll keep it media store Lab03. Let's keep it this. And it has got some restrictions also on the number of characters. It has got max of 24 characters. So we need to ensure that we are sticking within the game plan. And East US and standard should be good enough for us. And then East US standard. And this is locally redundant storage. We don't need geo redundant. Let's use the locally redundant because this is just a demo. But when we are going to production, we need to analyze what is that we need. Do we need the geo zone redundant or zone redundant or geo redundant? This all depends upon how many copies it has to create and what is your failover strategy. So what if a data center goes down, or what if a entire region goes down? Just want to have a glass of water. So these strategies will come into picture when you're going to prod. So let's go to advanced. Let's keep everything as it is. And then one thing I would like to highlight, these are access tier. We'll discuss about this little later. And this one, data lake storage Gen 2, if you want to enable that, we need to enable the hierarchical namespace, but we are not doing that. So we just selected this in the blade and create. Then we go to this data protection. This is the soft delete. So if you enable the soft delete, what will happen is that particular blob or the container or the file share, it will be in a temporary location for the desired number of days which you specify. So days to retain the deleted blob. If you see this, set the number of days that the blob mark for deletion persist until it is permanently deleted. So when you have this soft delete, and if you're deleting any of those blobs, it doesn't get deleted directly. So it stays in the temp location for a desired number of days, which you specify here. And encryption is by default it is enabled, and Microsoft managed keys are there. So we can have the customer managed keys, but for customer managed keys, we need to have our own Azure key vault, and we need to specify what is the key vault, and we can manage. Uh, but using the customer managed keys will come into picture only if there is a mandate, like you need to have your own keys. I mean, the best thing is using the Microsoft managed keys uh, will be suffice for all the scenarios, except you have some special rules that you have to manage your own keys. Except that, I think you can use the Microsoft managed keys. That's secure. And enable support for customer managed keys, all types of service, or if you're enabling it. Okay. And everything should be tagged. This is demo, so we are not tagging it. So we need to run one final validation to verify that all the options which we have selected. If you want to create, download the template, like what is that we have created, you can use this link to download, and we'll go ahead and create. So if you forget to download at the time when you're clicking on the create button, no worries. There are other mechanisms where we can download. We will see that in a minute. So here, if you see that the deployment is in progress, and here is a template, we'll see that it will appear here. Inputs, outputs, and templates will appear. We will see that in a moment, but we'll keep a watch on this. See this media store Lab03, that's what we have given. And if you click on the operation details, you will come to know what is the type. So this is storage accounts. So it is creating the storage account, and how many seconds it took to create it. So let's expand this deployment dialog. Sorry, tab, and you see that it has created three things. Let's see what is that it has created. So the first link, if you click on that, and this is the file service. The type, you can see this Microsoft storage account, file service, and it took 30 seconds to create this. Now click on the second details, operation details, and this is the blob service. So it created the file service, blob service, and you can see that it is clearly mentioned here. 30 seconds it took, and to create the storage account itself. And again, you can see this type is storage account. So it created the resource. You can see that, and it took 30 seconds. So it is pretty fast. You can get into the weeds to find out what it is. You can see that the resource for the blob service, it is default, and file service will see it is default. So it gives you the complete information what it is. And the second thing is we can click download from here. Okay, let me click on download. It clicks the deployment details here. And another thing is you can come and check this template. So this template will give what is that we have deployed. So supports HTTP traffic only, type is bool. So all the parameters, everything will be inside this template, like what all the properties we have chosen and what all the properties by default it is choosing, and what is its value. Everything will be inside this. And if you go to output, we didn't split anything. And these are the inputs which you have seen, that location, the storage name, and the account type, kind is storage v2. minimum TLS version, all the things which are there, we can get it here. So what we can do is like you can download it from here also. So you get the script, you can use Azure CLI or PowerShell. But here, if you see that these are the parameters file, and this is a template file. So you can save this template file as storage account.template.json and storage account.parameters.json. So you can have one template and multiple parameters for each of those environments like dev, QA, test, stage, UI or prod, whatever the number of environments you have, you can create different environments. So that's about this one. So let's come back to our resource group here. So we saw multiple ways to do that. Even if you are not comfortable with those things, again, you can come within the resource group. You can come and click on export template. This is the another mechanism where you can get it. So you can come and get this from here. And also, if you come to these deployments, and you can go to this particular deployment, and again, it is taking us back to the deployment. So the multiple ways to do it. So while before clicking on create or after that resources are being created, and within the resource group, you can go to the export template where you will find the template variables or parameters. All these things are there. And from the deployment, you would have done multiple deployments within the resource group. So any particular resource which you want to reuse using the ARM templates, you can go and select the deployments option and get it. Here also, you're seeing the same thing. You're getting all the parameters and this one, resources, whatever the resources which you have created, everything is here. So there are multiple ways to do it. Okay. So now we have created. Now what we will do is we created. Now go to the resource, storage account blade, settings section, and endpoints link. So we are back in this, our resource group. We go to the storage account. Okay. We go to the storage account blade and settings section. Under the settings section, you will go to the endpoints link. So if you go to the endpoint links, you will see that the resource ID, the blob service, the queue service. What is that? You can enable the static website data lake. We didn't enable that data lake, but we go to this one and copy the blob service text box to the clipboard. So we have this blob service at the top. So here is the icon. Let's select this and open a notepad, and I will paste it there. We'll keep it handy. So that's the thing which we, in the endpoint section, copy the value. There are two things. This is the resource ID. So it has got our subscription and the resource group and all those things, but we need to copy the blob service link. We copy it. And then on the storage account blade security and network setting, we need to go to the access key and copy the storage account name. And also we need to, first we'll do step by step. Let's not do, we'll go to this access key. And inside that, we need to copy the storage account name. We copied the storage account name. We'll put it here. Now, copy to clipboard. It is copied. Ooh. Let me copy like this. I don't know why it didn't copy. So let's copy this. And afterwards, we'll come back to this one. Storage account name, we copied it. On the access key blade, select show keys, and we can copy one of the key. So here, if you see that there are two keys, one is primary key and one is secondary key. So why do we need this primary and secondary key? Is even if one of the keys which has been used has been compromised. So we can quickly come back and start using the secondary key and refresh. Rotate means it will regenerate the primary key and again paste it. So that's for the security mechanism. So review any one of the keys and copy the value of the key box. So there are two things here. So if you see, one is key, one is the connection string. So this gives the entire connection string. Just want to show you the difference, how both looks. So just for that reason, I'm pasting it. Another one is this key. So we'll have this key. So if you see that default endpoint protocol is HTTPS, the account name is this, the account key is this one, and endpoint suffix is this one. So this is the more powerful one, but we will need only the keys. We have selected the keys. Okay. And after that, now we need to upload the blob into container. So what we will do is we'll go to the storage account and we'll create containers. Okay, what is that? The container name. There are two containers which we are creating. So let's go there real quick. We'll come back to this one here. So there are multiple things. You have the storage browser. You can come back here. You can create it from here, or you can come to the containers, or you can use this one. Anything is fine. Whichever you feel comfortable, you can use that tool. So we'll come to the container section, select the container. We have come here and click on the plus container and enter the same raster graphics here and hello. So we'll take that and the public access level, private, no anonymous access. So we'll keep it as it is, the private, no access. And then we will go ahead and create the container. That is the first container. And second container we'll use compressed audio. And again, we need to create. This is also, we'll leave it as private, anonymous, no access. So again, we'll come back over here. We'll copy this. Both should be private. So here it specifically shows that these are private. You can't access until unless you have the keys. So if you see that it has got logs, compressed audio, and raster graphics. So it matches with this one. Now the next step in the exercise 2, we have created the task 1, which we created 2 of the storage containers. And the task 2 is we need to upload the blob to the storage account. Okay, so we need to select the raster graphics and we need to click on upload. In the upload window, we will upload this graph.jpg. So one thing we did from the containers, other thing we'll do it from the storage browser, just to do it in a variety of ways. Nothing special. We can use the same one. We'll go to the raster graphics and click on upload and browse the files. So if I come back to you have to clone this AZ-204 solutions from the GitHub, so that you will have access to all these things, the lab scenario and the files and everything will be here. So if you come in to this one over here, like you have this is a content directory, but if you go to this GitHub link here, in this GitHub link, click on the code and you clone this, maybe using the HTTPS or with the GitHub desktop, where you will have all these things. Inside this, you'll have all files. It will be constantly updating. So if you go to the labs inside this, and we are in the third lab, and under starter, you have the starter project as well as this one. This is what they are pointing out here. So you need to upload that file. So let's come back to that step. Yes, this is what it is. So I already cloned it. So I will go back to this folder, Reveal in File Explorer. This is the graph image which they are asking at. One is SVG, one is JPG. So I'm selecting this link and going back here and click on the browse file, and I've selected that. So also click this override if exist and click on upload. So one of the file got uploaded. So this file, you need to select, check this box and click on upload. So verify that this has been uploaded. You can see this here, and you will see the URL for this and the content type, the content MD file, and all those other things, including the metadata. If you write something, that also we can read it. So this is the file. And if I go and try to view that file, it clearly shows that the specified resource doesn't exist. Technically, it is unauthorized. Unauthorized. This it says 400 bad request. This is 404. It says not found. Technically, we don't have permission to view that because that's the private one. So we are not allowing anyone to view this. So let's keep it there and move to the next step. Now access the container by using the .NET SDK. So what we can do is we can start the Visual Studio Code. I just created a I just opened an instance of Visual Studio Code, and then we'll start working on this one. And in the Visual Studio Code, we can open the terminal and we can create the blob manager. Okay, so just give me a minute. I will go back to my folder where I generally create for the speaker series. And this is doing it from MS Learn. This is AZ-204 Lab03. So let's create this files over here. It will be helpful if we are doing any. I mean, technically, we are not going to do any of those enhancements. If we get time, we'll do it, but we'll see. At least we'll do basic what is available there, and on top of that, anytime we have, we can go ahead and do some enhancements to that. So I'm creating it. So there are multiple ways. You can click on this terminal and new terminal, or this one control shift and backtick, or control and backtick. Okay, that's a toggle. Control key and the backtick. Open the terminal, control and backtick, close the terminal. Okay, toggle switch. That's a productivity tip. Make your life faster. So within this, let's create another folder. We call it as SRC, everything lowercase, and let's navigate CD SRC, and I will create that. Once that is done, let's go back and let's follow. Copy this, whatever the instructions they have specified. So we are creating a new console, and the framework is .NET 6. Name is Blob Manager. Output, we are saying that the current folder. That means it will create within the SRC. Within the SRC folder. Okay, the name is Blob Manager and the output is this one. So we'll create that, and I mean the instructions are there. No point in we redoing the same instructions. So if you see that, if you see that you have this over here, and let's do a dir. I see that within the SRC itself, it has created the blob manager. I can do .NET run. So it will go ahead and it will print the hello world. So first, that's like a starting point. Without hello world, we will never do anything. That's against the rules of software engineering. I'm just kidding. So we did the hello world, then we can come back here. Then we can add these packages. I'll copy this and you can see this. All the packages, whatever we add will get appeared here. So I'm just clicking on this to add the package. So it adds the package as well as it is restoring the package. You see that Azure Blob Storage Blob 001. So another thing what I would want to do, just to be seeing it on the other side of the table, I will open the same solution in Visual Studio 2022 also, so that we will see some of the things. I mean, it's not that we can't do it here in it's not that we can't do it in Visual Studio Code, but that's another tool which I love. Okay, I think we will come back to that a little later. I think it's installing the another version. Let it. I mean, there was a small upgrade. It's installing. Let it install. I will go ahead and close this just to ensure that it is not obstructing the upgrade to the latest version. Okay, that's cool. So it is installing. Let it install. It will not trouble us. We can go ahead coolly. And there is a extension for NuGet package. NuGet package extension is there, so which will give you the visual look and feel also. Like you can see this is over 1 million downloads. The NuGet package manager, it is giving that, and also you have the color coding and little help over there. And I think I've seen another extension which gives us a nice visual tool also. So as of now, for us, I think this is good enough to keep the ball rolling. Let's go to the next step. We have added this package, and we can do another thing. If you want to check that, we can select this and NuGet. If you type the NuGet, you can come into what is the package which we have used. It's Azure Storage Blobs. So if you come to the Azure Storage Blobs, it will show you what is the stable version. So if you want to, if you want a pre-release or a preview version, you can use it, but always the stable version is much better. So if you see that 12.16, that's the stable version. Here it's 12.12, that's a little older. If you go and see that, you'll get extra details and also a little bit of code, how to access, and other links. You can go to the source code repository and what is the type of license, how many downloads, who is the owner. I mean, before choosing anything, we have to analyze that who is supporting this, when did they release, how frequently they are releasing, and how many downloads per day. These are all the key things which we need to observe before using any of the packages. And after that, we will do a .NET build. Okay, we will do the oh build and let's specify what it has to build. So it is determining the projects to restore, and it will do the build. Let it do the build. We'll come back. Let's read the next instructions. Okay, select kill terminal or recycle. Then the next thing is we need to modify the program class to access the storage. So whatever the top level program we do have here. So this top level, we don't need to create a program class, and we don't need to have this main method. We don't need that because we are using the top level classes. And also another thing is some of the usings also we don't need to use it because that is coming as part of the global usings. So I'm searching, where is that here? Global using statement. So system, anything of these system threading or threading tasks, system HTTP, link, IO, collections, generic, and system, by default, those will be imported. So we don't need to create the program class or anything. It by default, it gets the main method gets created. So the main method, whatever it is getting created, will be in a different format. It's with main dollar. That is the name of that it creates. So let's start copy pasting this code. This is a slight improvisation. We are using the top level statements. So we don't need the private because that was within the class. We need it, but here we don't need that. These are the three things which we needed at this point of time. Okay, then update these things with the respective things, whatever we are. But we should use the secrets.json, app settings.json. We should never do this. We are doing just to do this sample, understand how it works, but for no other reason, never ever hard code any of the values in the source code. Time permits will move that to the app settings by the end of the session. We'll see how the thing goes. We created this, so we are not creating the main. Okay, so that, as I was mentioning, that gets created automatically. I'll show you a little later. Here is the main method where we can connect to the storage blob service. So just copy this, all the lines there till here, and let's paste it here, and let's paste it here. And what we will do is we'll do control dot so that it goes and it brings in the using statement. Okay, so using statement will be at the top. Using statements will be at the top, and blob service client. Let's bring that blob service, and account info. It is the model. We have the using at the top, and then we have three variables, and here is the program which it connects. We don't need to do this because the new syntax will this suffice. So if you're using here, where then we need to explicitly specify what is the type you're creating. But when you're creating the typed variable, you don't need to use the same type again. You can just specify new. Okay, so we have all these things. So we can .NET run. I will select. I think it will trouble us. Then we'll specify the blob manager.cs proj. Okay, it didn't trouble. So connected to the Azure storage account, the storage account name, the kind, and LRS, it did that. That's cool. So we were able to see the output. Now then enumerate the existing container. So we had how many containers we have. We'll come back and we'll quickly see. There are at least a couple of containers we do have here. So we need to enumerate this container. So let's create this containers. I'm copying from the static because it is the top level statements. We can technically push this to a separate methods. And okay, this is what is that we are doing. I think these 5 lines also we can push it, but at this point of time, let's go ahead. So here, what I will do is just a little bit of cleanup, and then we will call this enumerate. Await enumerate, and this is a service client. This is a service client. So what it is technically doing is from the client, it gets the get blob containers async. So it gets the list of containers, and it is looping through those containers. So the first lines we will move it so that we know it will be easy for us to understand which block of the code is getting executed. So this is the one block and this is the second block. So we will have to name it properly. So that's what I will come here. And what is that first connected to that? We are connecting, and we are using the storage account name and account info. So we will call it as display account info. We'll refactor this. I've selected those lines and right mouse click and do you refactor. Let's extract a function here, and that's the new method. It says that I will call it as display account info, because technically that's what it is doing. So call it as display account info. So it changed. So now that's the first step we did it, display account info. The next step was to enumerate the containers. So I put it here. So that way we will know that what was the first step we did it and what was the second step. Just to separate the reusability, I just added this, the main method. Okay, these are the 3 variables. Technically, we will read it from the app settings. Let's do this. First, let's complete what is given and then we'll go. So we completed the account info and then enumerating the containers. Okay, we did this one. Our program, it looks a little bit different because we are using top level statements. And I told that I will show you the main method where it is creating. Now, if I go in here, ILSpy and pick assembly from the file system, and I'll pick this up. And if I expand this, here you have a main program. And inside this main program, I told, isn't it? So when you use a top level program, it creates the main method automatically. So you see how our program looks. Our program is this. Our program.cs has got the top level statements, but internally framework takes care of creating static main, but that main will look little different when you compare with the main method over here. See this public static async task, public static async task. Here it is just main and string args. It is main within the Angular brass and the dollar symbol. So that's only different. So this main is getting created by the compiler generated. We didn't generate it. It's created automatically. Okay, so that's a little bit of information. What is happening under the hoods? Who is creating main? How it is recognizing? How the framework knows that what method to start. Technically, it is wrapping all these top level statement within the compiler generated main method. Okay, so that's the second step. We did it, and let me ensure that I didn't miss any of this. We enumerated the container, and okay, then retrieve the blob uniform resource identifier URIs using the SDK. And again, I think we can do a straight lift of this method. And only thing is we need to exclude the private specifier because it's the top level stuff going on. So we need to specify the service client and the container name. So let's see that we need to create another container name. I will come and that's a storage account. We need to create a container name. We'll create it very closer to the method invocation so that we know that why did we create that. So service client, which is already there. So now we know that why did we create that raster graphics there. So we have this method which we create. What is happening inside this? It gets the client here, the container, and then it is going through the container name it is displaying. So for each of those blobs which is available within that container, it displays the blob name. So that's what we are doing. So the entire program looks like this. And I think this is cool. So let's run .NET run. We might do a little bit of improvisation. Now itself, we are doing a lot of improvisations on top of what is available in the documentation. So the only thing what I will do is we need to display a title. What is that we are doing? We'll do that because we still have 12 minutes time. Let's complete what is there. Then already we did quite a few improvisations, and again we'll do the improvisations. Maybe 5-10 minutes tolerance here and there, but let's go ahead and run that. And now create a new container using the SDK. So we did till here, enumerate blob async, we did till there. And we ran that. And this is another method which we are doing. We'll come back to this one and we have to nuke this private there. And okay, so we just created. So here we are create if not exist, and the access type is we are giving public blob. That's one key thing. So here he says that vector graphics is a container name. So again, we'll do the same way. We'll create a variable very close to the method invocation so that we know that why did we create it. That's what we created. It created a blob client with the new container name. What is that we are creating? The vector graphics. Okay, and we can upload this inside the vector graphics, that is SVG. Okay, let's do that step by step. So let's not rush. Let's come back and see how many containers do we have. Do we have compressed audio? We have raster graphics. Okay, this is ready. We will use it. So to do some little bit of refactoring, we'll do that. And okay, we don't have that. So let's come back here and let us run this .NET run. So it will create this one. See, new container vector graphics has been created. So here the new container vector graphics has been created. So we can come back to the Azure portal, refresh it, and we'll see that the vector graphics has been created. Now you see one difference is, so any blob you drop it here, we'll be able to access this drop, the blob independently, because rest of the places we tried it, but we couldn't access it. Okay, so that's the step which we followed it. And let's see, I think this is the last exercise. Upload a new blob. The SVG has to be uploaded to the vector graphics. So let's go to this vector graphics and I want to upload and browse the files, and SVG will drop it here and we'll click on upload. So it uploaded. You can see that there. And now if you come back and observe one thing, we'll see that in a minute. Here we are enumerating the containers. Okay, control alt foreground color, make it yellow, and control it's a color. Okay, so the first one is we'll take blue color and we'll do the console.reset. Okay, so let's go to this place because we want to see nice, beautiful colors. I'll open the terminal. I know that it is nice. That's what I selected. It run. So just to differentiate between a block and a block. So see that this is coming in, the first method is coming in blue, this is in yellow. Now you can see that previously it displayed only two of those containers when it was traversing the containers, it was two, because now that we created the vector graphics, so that is also being displayed here. Now another color what we can take here for this one is cyan, and console reset. And the last one will, I mean, it's not last, green. Ooh, it got my mind. It was reading my mind. I don't know why. We'll execute this. So we'll see cyan, blue. So we had four methods. We displayed four different colors, at least one more visual difference, like how many methods we are calling those things. So we already uploaded. Let's come back here, apart from the improvisations. Access the blob URI. And what is that? Okay. So the first thing is we need to, yeah, we have uploaded this. The next step is we need to access that. So we will go here and we'll see what is that which is happening inside this. A minute. So get blob async. So we are the container is already created here. So that's an extension of that. So the container is here and we'll give the blob name. So what is the blob name? Blob name is graph SVG. So that's the another step in the process. And exactly this guy is accessing this. Okay. And we will this is the blob. It is accessing and it is returning the blob. And we can display this. Okay, that's the another line. Okay. So this is single line. This is two lines. Let's keep it because we'll see. We'll try to move this to app configuration. That improvisation we do it. We have it here. We are passing it, and then this guy is returning the blob, and from that we are accessing the blob URI. And we need colors to display what all the other colors we have. Oh, Magneta. So let's come back over here and again run. So we got the account information. We are traversing the containers and we are traversing the containers and we're creating the raster. Oh, we are searching this graph. Then we are creating a new container. Then we are getting this URI of this blob. Let's see. Are we able to see that in a browser? Yes, we are able to see that because the previous link, if you see in the raster graphics, here we had the graph JPG. And when we copied that URL and pasted it here, when we pasted it here, it says that not found. Technically, we didn't give the authorization for that. But if we go to the vector graphics and go to the graph.svg and we copy the link and we come, I'll close that, the previously which was displayed. Now it is displaying. That's just because if you come to the containers, we said that these containers are private and these containers are anonymous access for individual blobs. So that's the reason if you go here and see this here, you will be able to access this from outside. So in the previous container, you can't access. So that is what we did it here. Okay, we still have 1 minute. Let's do the improvisation, one small improvisation. Technically, we need to move that. I will check in this code after doing it. But as of now, what I will do is I will say that console.writeLine displaying account information. Good, this guy is okay. And then what is that we are doing here? We are enumerating the containers. I have GitHub Copilot, so it's doing most of my job. Enumerating blobs. Technically, that's what we are doing here. And creating a new container. uploading. Oh, creating new container. That's uploading a blob, and then yep, that's correct. Thank you. With slight improvisation. It's not an improvisation. That's like showing some messages like displaying account info, enumerating the containers, enumerating the blobs, creating new container, uploading the blob. We uploaded the graph SVG. It's technically we are retrieving the blob URL. So I will change that. Retrieving blob URL. Okay, that makes more sense. With what because we manually uploaded it. We didn't upload it through the programmatically way, but see this. This is how we created it. I mean, what I will do is I'll take time and move this into the app settings, and I'll check in the code. So you can find the code here in this speaker series and under MS, because you have AZ-204 Lab2 is there. So this is a folder under which you will see the Lab3 shortly by end of today, or yeah, it shouldn't take much of the time. So by end of today, I will push it. So that's the Lab3. You'll find it in the Lab3, and so that's the Lab3 demo. Do you have any queries?
Not right now, sir.
What is that?
Not right now. I'll go through and I'll come back if I have any.
Oh yeah.
I'm just a beginner. I'm listening everything what you are doing. Trying to replicate.
Sure. You can post your queries if you have any of the queries, and also I will show you where can you find these the previous one. You see that is here.
Yeah, I have subscribed this. Yes.
Oh, you're subscribed for this one? That's cool. That's cool. So you will see that in the playlist 204. So I did three labs. I mean, lab 1, lab 2, and lab 1 and 2, little bit of improvisation. Now it is lab 3. I will upload that shortly. Okay. So cool then. So next I'm starting a microservice series, which is of 120 sessions.
Okay.
Yeah, microservice series.
All right.
From scratch, like fundamentals of C# and fundamentals of entity framework core, minimal API, full-blown API, Razor pages, Blazor server, Blazor WASM, Angular, React, mini projects, Docker Compose, Kubernetes, observability, tracing, everything included, Kafka, RabbitMQ, service-to-service communication, synchronous communication, asynchronous communication, resiliency. A lot of things will come. It's an 120 episodes, a minimum which I'm planning. So let's see. Thanks so much for joining, and see you in the next week. I have another session. We'll see you there. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.